Do you remember when Arthur solved racism over Zoom?
Racism is so unfair. It has to stop.
Hey everyone, before we get into the video, I want to thank you all for 60,000 subscribers. I'm currently working on my review for Elmo in Grouchland, which will be premiering on my channel on August 16th, so turn on notifications so you can know the moment I post it. Do you all remember those super cringy Arthur shorts that came out during lockdown? If you don't know what I'm talking about, PBS produced a series of digital shorts during the pandemic that featured the cast of Arthur talking over Zoom about things every 8-year-old talks about, like mask mandates and hate crimes. Wait, what?
You're gonna wear a mask, right?
But why? I don't like how they look.
You would think that during one of the darkest periods in recent history, the folks behind Arthur would want to make something fun and uplifting to give kids and families a bit of comfort. But no, these videos leaned hard into their social commentary, and the fans of Arthur were having none of it. These videos quickly became the most despised pieces of Arthur media ever released. People were saying these shorts were even worse than Arthur's missing pal, and you all already know how I feel about that monstrosity. And don't get me wrong, these topics are important and should be discussed more frequently, but is anyone really going to take these conversations seriously when they're being spearheaded by an 8-year-old talking aardvark? I had nieces and nephews that were Arthur's age during the pandemic, and I can assure you that they were not spending lockdown trying to solve racism. They were too busy helping their parents harvest pumpkins on Animal Crossing. So today, I want to dive into Arthur's shorts. Arthur's digital shorts about racism to see if it's aged better with time, or if it's managed to turn even more sour than when it first debuted. Let's not waste any more time and delve right in. This video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Make sure to turn on notifications and help get this video to 5,000 likes.
And I say, hey!
Arthur is bummed out because he saw a video of someone doing a racism outside the sugar bowl. He calls Buster and we get a couple more details about what went down.
I can't believe someone would be hurt like that.
Wait, seriously? I just thought they meant something like when DW cussed out her mom. But no, this was like an actual assault. What the hell, PBS? The most violent thing Arthur's ever done was punch his sister in the arm, but you're telling me he watched someone get physically assaulted outside the sugar bowl of all places? That'd be like if Steve got mauled by Blue while he was sitting in his thinking chair. But as batshit insane as the first 20 seconds of this video have been so far, it is nothing compared to the next brain fart that spills out of Arthur's mouth.
Racism is so unfair.
Yeah, no Arthur. Okay, to be fair to these kids, when I was in grade school, we were taught that racism ended in the 60s because Rosa Parks was too tired to change bus seats. Public school has never done any of us any favors.
No one should ever judge someone by the color of their skin.
You know, this might sound like a dumb question, but how exactly does race work in the world of Arthur? I know that the Brains family celebrates Kwanzaa, so does that mean that all bears are black? Or just the Brain because he's a black bear? I'll admit I'm being a bit facetious, but do you see how muddled the message becomes when you bring up racism in a show that doesn't have any human characters? It's one thing to have celebrities play anthropomorphized versions of themselves, but what exactly would a black person even look like on Arthur? Oh no, Mr. John Lewis, what did they do to you?
But how could it happen here, in Elwood City?
Exactly, Buster. Who was clamoring for the Arthur hate crime episode? Arthur reveals that Mrs. McGrady told him that there's been a really long history of black people being treated unfairly in this country, which has to be the biggest understatement of the last 4 centuries. The kids say that racism needs to stop. Now. Wow, if only someone had said something sooner. Instead of asking literally anyone else for help, the two decide that they're the only ones who could put an end to racism once and for all.
I can't even fry an egg on my own.
Judging by how much you eat, Buster, I just assumed that you swallowed eggs whole. The two call Mrs. McGrady to find out how they can put an end to racism before lunchtime. Mrs. McGrady explains that there are several adults in the government and law enforcement working to put a stop to racism and to keep people of color safe. I mean, can't you tell? They've been doing a great job of it so far. Lady McGrady explains that racism is like a disease, and Buster worries he might accidentally come down with a case of xenophobia. Arthur says there's no way they could be bigoted. I mean, his eyes are so bad he doesn't even see race. McGrady points out that prejudice exists in many different forms, and it's important to hold yourself and others accountable. She then gives a quote from John Lewis about mankind's moral obligation to stand up against injustice. And I'm sure this moment would be a lot more meaningful if Buster put down his goddamn carrot sticks. Arthur asks what they can do to help, and Mrs. McGrady says they should keep doing what they're doing now. You mean making PSAs where PSA stands for preachy subpar animations? Because they made 3 more of these dumpster fires. Mrs. McGrady says that talking about racism with friends and family is a good way to promote equality and justice in your community. Though if the team at Arthur had talked to a single black person before making the short, they could have saved themselves a whole lot lot of time and backlash. McGrady says it's also important to listen to people who have experienced racism firsthand, and to act whenever you see bigotry happening around you. Also, maybe read a book by a credible black author instead of pestering every non-white person you know so they can make you feel like you're a better person, Arthur. It's not their job to teach you how to fix a problem they didn't create. Instead of listening to what else Mrs. McGrady has to say, Arthur and Buster jump off the call so they can go pester their parents to see what they know about social injustice. Oh, what a fun conversation that will be. So normally, this is the part where I would sum up what happened in the episode and end the video with a giant FU. But honestly, it feels weird doing that for a 3.5-minute long cartoon about racial violence and social injustice. I'm just left scratching my head wondering why the Arthur team felt so compelled to make this digital short in the first place. I mean, nobody was waiting on the edge of their seat to see how Arthur would respond to the murder of George Floyd. And I'm not saying you can't talk about prejudice and inequality in a kid's cartoon, but good God, there has to be a better way to go about it than this. These are the same people who made a great response to 9/11 without even directly mentioning 9/11. And yes, I am going to make part 4 of the April 9th Arsonist series. It'll probably come out right after my Elmo review, so rest assured I haven't forgotten about it. The sad thing is that Mrs. McGrady ends the short with some really good advice.
If we work together, we can make a difference.
I just wish it had been preceded by a bunch of mindless babbling between two children who have no idea what they're talking about. And clearly the adults who wrote their dialogue don't know what they're talking about either. I'm not even sure they know how 8-year-olds talk.
Racism is so unfair.
All I can say is that if PBS Kids' goal was to reduce the amount of hatred in the world, then they backfired spectacularly. If anything, they succeeded in uniting everyone against this horribly tone-deaf excuse for animation. F you, PBS Kids. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know if you want me to cover the other Arthur COVID shorts in my next video. If there's a specific cartoon you want me to watch, top-tier patrons can commission a review from my channel. You can also become a channel member to get early access to all my uncensored videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. If you could learn to work and play and get along with each other.